Hey, Headripper here. I'm gonna go over our speed kills because it's 25% going on 35% debuff, and it's time to just blast these bosses down and have fun. We've been in this content for 3 months now, going on like 14 kills, 15 kills next week. So 30% debuff, like Morchok's health is gonna go from like 21.5 million to 15 million. And his damage that he's gonna do is also going down by 30%. And starting out pre-bis in this raid, we were somewhere around 210 to 240 k HP, depending on how much tank gear you had and how many trinkets you had on that were tank. So, if you take 30% of that and since the boss is doing less damage, then we should be able to get by with, 180 to 190,000 HP. And these fights are so quick that we're just blasting through them, and most of our cooldowns, are up when we need them. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my pre-pull timer. It's like pull 167 seconds, and that's what it takes to have like 70 runic power when you start the pull, because that's how much you need by the time you army and then horn and then go in with a death strike and heart strike to be at 130. So I've got a two set bonus Firelands set gear on, and what that does is it gives you a runic corruption or whatever buff that when you horn a winner, you'll keep stacking over time runic power. So you just keep you horn, and then you bone armor, and then you put down your D&D, and you just keep that cycling that every time it's up. Um, but we're gonna go ahead and do that, and once it hits, 8 seconds, I'm gonna do my army, and then I'm gonna swap to my DPS set that I've got a macro for. I'm gonna boot in, hit my gloves, death strike, heart strike, and then kind of sit here and just wait. Uh, Heart strike again. I'm gonna put my goal out so that I don't have to use a global cooldown while I've got my big buffs running. My DRW, and then just focus on single target damage in my Morchok while my tank, off tank, brings him in. So we're taking each other's damage cleaves, and we're just stacking and cleaving and rolling cooldowns. So we'll roll on the second stomp. So Morchok will stomp, and then Crowcom will stomp. So what we'll do is when Crowcom stomps, we're gonna start rolling cooldowns. So we're gonna roll a rally at the same time our Feral is rolling his frenzy regeneration. That's when I'll use my Vamp Blood and just work on death striking, and then once I get hit by a resonating crystal, I'm gonna hit my AMS so that I absorb that damage. And then once they get furious, that's when I use IBF, and we're just trying to chop them down and keep rolling cooldowns. We've got our paladin healing, and they're doing Devo Aura pretty much on the second to third stomp as well. So that's when everybody starts taking their big damage. But we keep resetting if we don't get it, and keep trying, and then we move on to the next boss.
Or do you need a pig, a crab trap?
All right, so Yor'sahj, I'm just full DPS, gems, gear, enchants, everything, and gonna do my same pre-pull shenanigans so that I'm going in with 70 RP, and we're actually gonna no heal this fight, so there's no healers, all damage, and we're gonna do the same thing at 7 seconds. We're gonna army, then we're gonna potion and change our gear, boot in, hit our gloves, taunt them up, hit the death strike and heart strike, get your DRW out, and get to chopping them down and really focusing on your health. You're gonna want to use your vamp blood early and get the health up. Once you hit about half health, and you're gonna want to keep your bone armor on as well. But don't hit your bone armor if he's turned away from you and you're doing damage, to his backside so you don't get parried. And just keep up your damage rotation on him and let your range kill the ooze and try to do the ooze that makes you spread out, so you don't have all the AoE. And then just keep chopping them down. If they need help on the ooze, switch to it. Hit it once and then go right back to it. Focus on using your cooldowns and have your shaman put a healing rain down. Spread your dots to these guys so they're doing less damage. Roll your vamp blood again. Go ahead and put your AMS on so you're not taking the shadow damage cleave. Roll your vamp blood, IBF. And just keep trying to really chop down. As soon as your DRW comes back on cooldown, you gotta hit it. You can hit your rune tap too to help heal a little bit. But when the second set of oozes come in, you gotta commit to killing them because you won't really live another one. So just keep blasting and praying. Keep hitting your cooldowns. Keep your rotation up.
Keep going.
Vamp blood is your friend, so make sure that you use vamp blood when you have death strikes available.
Hit it faster, harder.
Yeah, we can kill it. Some people are gonna die though.
Oh, come on, yes, boys.
Your, we got an achievement here, Taste the Rainbow, because we got all the colors.
Oh, we taste the rainbow.
But that was a really fast speed kill.
We did it.
That was sick. So we're gonna do 11 bounces and then kill.
All right, on Yor'sahj, we're not good enough quite yet to be able to do one healer, one tank, mainly because I'm not optimized for self-healing and damage mitigation. I'm just full damage. So we're going to try a little something next week where I put just a little bit more mastery on. But right now we're going to do 2 healers, 1 tank. We're going to do a bounce on the first one for an 11 stack. And then we're going to kill him. So doing the same thing, the pre-pull, boot in and taunt him, and then Death Strike, Heart Strike. Get your DRW out. Get to really chopping them down. You want to get it out as soon as you can, but you're not hitting your ERW on this one. You're going to wait for the burn phase. Trickiest part of this is bouncing them backwards.
Oh wow.
Pulling them backwards just far enough so that the ball is off cooldown and it bumps back and goes to the range without hitting the boss. So once you get that lined up, readjust so that your boss is real close to it so that your melee DPS don't have to go too far away. But I try not to roll any cooldowns until he does his second psychic drain. So on the second psychic drain, you're going to hit your vamp blood plus AMS. And then you're going to want to call for, you're going to want to do your IBF around 6 to 7 stacks of his debuff. And then as soon as that fades, you want to call out for your paladins and a sack. And then as soon as that fades, you want to call out for your priest pain sub. Once all that happens and you bounce, you get the 11th bounce, and the ball starts moving away. Start moving him towards the range, so that as soon as they bounce the ball back, it hits the boss. And then everybody groups up in the middle, and we're blasting from there on out. We just drag the boss towards the claw, and we're grouped up, and we're hitting our cooldowns. We're rolling a rally into Devo into a barrier, and we're just all stacked up, you know, AoE healing and stuff. The boss is gonna spawn the Void Orb, so you kind of want to turn it away in case the Void Orb goes into the wall and wipes you guys if you don't get it the first, you know,
Keep it going.
attempt. But
Burn
it's
'em.
a pretty hectic fight, but it
The
goes
boss,
by
the
real
boss.
fast. And the
Turn 'em.
trickiest
Okay.
part to it
Burn
is
'em.
getting the bounces correct without it hitting the boss. And you optimize the cooldowns of the bounces so that his stacks of damage is not stacking up so high that it gets too much to handle.
There you go.
Ping
But
pong.
just
Ping
roll
pong.
your
Ping pong. Ping
cooldowns like
pong.
that, and
Protector.
you should be good.
Nice. And the wand.
All right, for Hagara, we're gonna try to get her done in one phase. So one, you know, big damage phase, or she takes all the damage for 15 seconds. We're gonna assign people so that they're standing in a spot when the lightning conductor comes out, so that they are gonna be chaining the second part of the chain to the totem on each side. So as soon as she goes immune and we go to the lightning guy to kill him, which is on star, everybody that's in their assigned spots is going to go to that assigned spot. That way we have the shortest time between the boss being immune and then being able to kill it. So we're going to do the same thing with our pre-pull timer to get our raid RP above 70. And we're going to do the same thing, army, pot, boot, change our DPS back, taunt. And we're not hitting our DRW. We're just doing a light opener. So save DRW, save the power runic weapon, and just focus on Death Strike, Heart Strike, Rune Strike, Death Strike, Rune Strike, keeping your RP high, and you know, go ahead and roll your cooldowns, Vamp Blood into Icebound Fortitude, and as soon as she goes immune, you know, try to hit her a little bit more, and then go to Star to taunt this guy up and kill him. And I'm in charge of this one spot, so that's all I'm supposed to do is chain that one, and then I get on the boss and I'm sitting here pulling my runes ready to attack. All right, she's up, so I'm gonna hit my DRW macro that does trinket and everything else. Outbreak, Death Strike, Heart Strike, Death Strike, Power Rune or Weapon, Rune Strike, Death Strike. Hit my second pot, Death Strike, Rune Strike, Death Strike. And then as soon as she comes back, you know, hitting on me, I'm gonna pop my Vamp Blood and just, you know, try to get chopping her down. And we're just doing as much damage as we can here. So we're just trying to get out as many Death Strikes and Rune Strikes as possible without having to dip our runic power down too high. And then she's dead if everybody blasts. And we're saving our rogues smoke bomb for the second set of ice lances after she comes immune. So she's immune, we're damaging her, she pops her ice lances. 3 or 4 seconds later, we're all stacked on top of each other, and our rogue hits the smoke bomb so that we're not getting targeted by them, and we just keep blasting them down. All right, Ultraxion's next. So we're gonna one tank, one heal this. We're not gonna have 2 tanks. So our feral off tank is just Kitty. What that means for us is as a tank, we're gonna be taking every tank's fading light. So we're gonna be having it a lot. What's gonna happen to stop people from dying after heroic will is we're gonna have our ret put on righteous fury so that he's second in threat. So that when I do my heroic will and fade out and reduce my threat, the Ret will be second highest threat, so he'll take the melee damage, and then I'll be able to taunt back on him, so he can take a couple of melee hits without dying. But we start the fight the same as normal with our high pre-pull RP, and we've got a preset rotation for this boss, and I'll put it over the screen now. But this is how I'm gonna do my opener, and I'm just blasting. So when he does his first hour of twilight, we're eating it, so we're just gonna hit our AMS and just keep, you know, chopping them down.
Zag menu next.
When we get the fading light, you're gonna have to pop one of your cooldowns, hit your fading light. As soon as you come out, spam taunt and then spam your death strike so that you get your health caught back up and keep your dots on the boss and keep everything going. But you're gonna get fading light again, bam, you're gonna do it again. Hit heroic will, hit taunt, death strike as soon as you come out of it, and keep chopping. The fading light's gonna get it on you again, so you're gonna have to be really fast with it. You want to hit a cooldown,
Yeah.
like every time that you're coming out of a fading light, because for the next 5 seconds you're gonna be taking increased damage. So fading lights on me. I'm gonna hit my heroic will, spam taunt, hit a cooldown, and keep on blasting. I try to keep my bone armor up. Try to keep my DRW going. Just trying to focus on keeping my health high with rune strikes and death strikes. Trying to keep my buff going so that I hit it the last second. Always hitting taunt as soon as I come out of it. Make sure I'm using all my cooldowns to stay alive. And doing as much damage as I can with death strikes and rune strikes. And the fight is very chaotic.
Mashing that.
But it's very fast too. So if everybody's blasting,
Be a record.
then you should
Oh, we got
get it
big
down within 2
shots.
minutes and
It was 2:15.
move on to the next boss.
Our last one was
Target changed.
All right, next up's Blackhorn, and this first part's boring, so I'm just gonna kind of skip through it. We're just doing damage. I mean, nothing special here. You know, none of this matters towards your parse, and it doesn't help your speed kill time. So we're just pretty much killing it as fast as we can, and gonna absorb the big soaks and
try not to stand fire and
kill the
we're only one healing, so
drakes.
don't anymore, you have to.
kill the goblins.
Oh, does it not do it?
Just a lot of standing around and waiting.
Good old days.
Definitely miss Old War.
Yeah, do you? 'Cause I don't.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite raid.
I'm more of a TOGC type of guy.
TOGC was fun.
I think it's so fast.
It's so fun though.
Big soak.
Big soak.
Nice roar.
Target changed.
Oh, so the wing's
And
coming
then
up.
the healing.
He's healing.
Canvas, move up just a little bit. Put your toes in it. There you go. No, this healing even matters for your healing meters, anyways.
Was it not?
Only till
Yep, soak.
only Gloriana, and once they come down.
Once we get to a spot where the boss is about to come down,
Every man for himself.
I'm gonna try not to do any more damage so that I don't pop my trinkets. I accidentally did here and popped my crest trinket, so it's off cooldown. It's on cooldown rather, so it won't pop. So I renew my bone armor. I've got the boss target. As soon as he comes down, I'm taunting him and gonna do my opening rotation on him as if we just started the fight. So I'm gonna taunt, death strike, heart strike,
Shockwave.
gear W, outbreak, death strike, heart strike, death strike, heart strike, power runic weapon, death strike, rune strike, death strike, rune
You'll
strike.
be on,
As soon as
right now?
Gloriana comes down, I'm gonna spread my dots, and
Swapping.
I'm still chopping down Blackhorn, so I'm gonna keep doing my death strike and rune strike rotation. But as soon as I get 2 to 3 debuffs, my off tank's gonna taunt Warmaster, and I'm gonna get on Gloriana, and this is where I'm gonna try to start focusing a little bit more on cleave damage. So I'm gonna put more heart strikes out than death strikes. But as soon as my off tank gets 3 stacks,
No, we don't
then
need to
we're gonna
swap.
swap again.
You don't even have any markers.
Once we swap, I'll be tanking Blackhorn, so I'll have to
Oh,
go
okay.
back
I'll
to
taunt
my
then. I
death
don't see you
strike
as a
and
tank
rune
then for
strike
some reason.
rotation and managing my cooldowns based on his devastates. So as soon as he starts to devastate,
taunted him.
I'm gonna hit my vamp blood, try to get my health pool higher, and as soon as I see the next devastate, I'm gonna run my IBF and call for anything else as soon as it falls off,
Yeah,
so that we
any
can just
cooldowns,
blast
I'll
it.
take 'em.
And everybody's focusing on doing damage to Blackhorn, not Gloriana, and they're just passively doing cleave. and that way you can, you know,
Protector again.
parse a little bit higher and get them killed
Trinket.
quicker.
Protector held.
All right,
Are
up
you
next
good
is
now?
spine,
Now.
and
Here we go. 3, 2,
I'm gonna
1.
swap to my normal set. I don't need my pre-pull set on, and we're just gonna go do the normal strategy where we kill 3 of the
Yeah.
tentacles and then roll.
Specific one just for this boss because of the.
So we're gonna kill the
spine
first 3
target,
fire
no
grip
target,
tentacles.
you know.
Make sure you have your amalgamations tanked so
Clear
that they're not
target,
hitting
blah, blah,
people.
blah.
Get in the fiery grip, roll it off, get your next corruption down so that your amalgamation can spawn, and you can start damaging it. I'm gonna do the same thing where I'm tanking it on the right side of the platform so that the debuff can jump to me and I'll get the buffs for reduced damage. But we're kind of just lightly doing damage here, and I'm trying not to use anything, so I'm not going to DRW, I'm not going to use my potions, I'm not going to use my gloves, nothing like that.
I don't think
I'm
Crash
just
is a good
slowly
one for
attacking this
fight.
guy down and manually
Just
applying dots,
doesn't
and we're
proc when
just
you want
really
it to.
chilling here
You need it.
because there's not much to
You need
do
me to score for
between
this fight.
getting this
I've
guy
got
low
Skull
and
on,
waiting
but
on
my
the 9
second
bloods to
should
spawn.
be the rotting
Should be
bone.
the-
bone
I
thing.
have my
Oh,
crush
yeah,
on for this
Protector
one,
Amalgam,
and
Protector
it's
Amalgam.
actually bad for this fight. I should have just have my
Really off.
whirling blade on, the whirling maw.
I went to go run
But
one
I'm gonna go
over
ahead
and
and
ran
wait
5.
for
Yeah, we just need one
9
more.
residues, and I've got a special macro that I use on this one to target only the tendon when it's available.
I don't
And
think
if
that's
it's
8.
not available, then it
5, 6,
clears
7,
my
8,
target
9.
and
There it goes.
stops
Never
the
mind.
macro. And I just keep hitting it over and over. And it's popping my gloves too. So I'm going to get them in spot, hit my AMS, come over here to the shield so I don't get nuked down. And I'm spamming my macro now. Wait, and then as soon as my macro fires off, I'm going to Death Strike and Heart Strike. And then I'm going to pop off my DRW. And then get to just chopping them down with Death Strikes, Heart Strikes, Death Strikes, Rune Strikes, Death Strike, and do that rotation. And I mean, we blast it. So pick up the amalgamation, get to the corruption. Everybody stays in. We're gonna roll these off, and then we're gonna kill the front left corruption, and pick that amalgamation up, and I'm gonna put it against the same right side and tank it
Remember, we're not,
there
like, just
while my off
always
tank
killing these
picks up
bloods.
the bloods, and we're gonna do the same thing right here.
We have so much
I'm just
time.
kind of we're all
Not on this
kind
one,
of
though.
holding damage and waiting for our
Oh,
cooldowns.
because we're waiting on cooldown.
Um,
Oh, okay.
See these
I actually messed up on the first tendon, and I
57.
didn't hit my trinket, so I missed out on a pretty good bit of damage on that one. And I'll put my spine rotation tendon damage down here so that you can see what I should be doing. And I'm not perfect, so sometimes I fail it. I did have rank 2 DPS in the world on this boss though, so I can nail it sometimes.
30
But we're just sitting here waiting on 9
Everybody
residues,
Just stop
and get this
damage
guy
on
low. Trying to pull up my runes so that I have them all available. Trying to keep my runic power topped off so I have the highest runic power I can.
Probably go.
We've got 9 residues here, so I'm gonna go ahead and start soaking them up and get them in spot.
Nobody's hitting it. They're just holding their damage.
I'm gonna hit my AMS so that I'm not getting chunked. Go stand in the spot where we're supposed to be. Hit my macro. I'm spamming my macro right now. It fires off, so I'm Death Strike, Heart Strike, Rune Strike, DRW, Outbreak, Death Strike, Heart Strike, Death Strike, and I should be firing off my second macro or my second trinket now, and then ERW and Death Strike, Rune Strike, Death Strike, Rune Strike after the prominent runic weapon. And then we pick up the amalgamation. We come over here, kill this corruption. We're all going to stack in it and roll off. And then we're getting to the next boss.
Peg.
What do you say?
I'm stuck on a peg.
Well, sorry, we're
Like, I
getting to
don't
the
know
next
what it was.
corruption. We're going to kill that one. Get that
What's hitting over there?
amalgamation. And, make sure everybody's just single targeting this amalgamation and they're not killing bloods too fast for
Remember, you're just single
the
target
healers
damage
to
and these
heal.
That's all you should be hitting. That's the amalgamation.
Just chopping this guy down and try not to use any of our cooldowns.
See
And
these here?
No.
We got lots of this.
the last second tendon, we actually was holding damage just a little bit. And we're delaying the time so that everybody's
Some blood out
minute
there.
and 30-second trinkets were back up. And that's why we were sitting there for a little bit longer. But on this one, we're not, since we have bloodless. So we're just going to get them down as fast as we can.
Nobody about yet?
Soak up the
Okay.
bloods, put them in the spot, hit the AMS. I'm going to go ahead and put down my my D&D over the guy that just
Target.
spawned. But auto attack him a little bit, spam on my macro. My gloves fire off, so I'm going to double Death Strike, Heart Strike, and get my DRW out. And then start chopping down, hit my trinket, because it's back up off on cooldown. Just keep trying to Death Strike, Rune Strike, Death Strike, Rune Strike.
We did it.
And,
Yay.
We're
you know,
so
boom,
good.
one phase,
I was
every one of
lagging
the
too, I'm like,
tendons,
"Please,
and
Oh, wow.
Get on to the next one. All right, my previous video went over spine and how we handle it, so I'm not really gonna go over this one. Just gonna roll an outro, and the outro is gonna be okay. Bye.